Hello everyone, and welcome to the Totally Stumped podcast. This is me, YYYS2EE3, and my good friend Stumpy. I know I took a break last week, and now I'm back. So, hello Stumpy, how's your day?
How's it going, Yyys? Nah, you're probably listening wondering who the fuck, what happened to Yyys? Why did he get a better voice? What's going on? This is Heccison, a man that briefly streamed on Twitch 3 times and has played DBD for most of his days. So how are you getting on, Heck?
I'm actually doing very well. I'm excited to be here. I know a lot of your viewers probably know of me. They've seen me in the chat, but maybe they don't know how I sound. So this is their first time hearing that.
Fair, and
But
for
yeah.
anybody who doesn't know you, tell us a bit about yourself.
So, I am Heccison. I'm one of Stumpy's mods and Yyys mods, actually. I have been playing DBD for quite a while. I streamed a little bit for maybe like some point last year, or maybe early this year, which was quite interesting. But yeah, maybe you recognize me from that. Probably not, because it didn't go too far. And yeah, I'm here to replace the best host of this podcast.
Wow. You're streaming, you were a lot braver with streaming than I have been. You went and put your face out there straight away, which I was very impressed with. Like, it's a big step.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you did at some point as well, so.
I've done it a few times for kind of like big milestones and stuff, but I don't know. I'm still like teetering on the edge of deciding whether to just put my face out there permanently.
Yeah, I think there's a few streamers that went from like completely faceless and then they're like, oh yeah, this is what I look like, and then they just start streaming with the face cam, and it feels kind of strange, you know? Like if you're used to someone being like kind of faceless and then you see them like switch up and then all of a sudden they've got a camera on every stream. Like Hens, for example.
I was about to say Hens. I just expected him to look like what do you call that character? Yyys. I expected him to look the exact same. Seeing his face for the first time, I was like, what? Hens has a face?
Breaks the illusion of it.
Yeah, he's a good looking man too. Fair play to Hens. Like he's built up the courage and he got out there. You gotta respect anybody that does it.
Like, he's built into it quite well. It's not really like awkward or anything. But when I check like the comments on the videos, people are like, "What the hell? Hens has a face."
Yeah, I think that's most people's reaction. It's like, what?
Yeah. So, I mean, at some point, you kind of like you don't have to do it, but a lot of people do end up doing it anyway.
Yeah, I'm kind of in a good position now where I've sort of got like a character set up for my channel that if I chose to go that route, I could also go that route. It's just kind of deciding where things go. I think ultimately, if I hit like 1,000 followers at any stage, that'll be when I make my decision.
But you're now like 620, I think.
620, yeah.
Yeah, that was it last time I was there, which was probably like the other day.
Yeah.
And you're streaming tonight, right?
Yep, streaming Sadako streaks tonight. Those are still going on. They're not very high because I am a survivor main by trade.
Well,
so
they're pretty high because Sadako's not like the best killer. You can counter her pretty well if you're playing right.
Well, I've seen that a few times.
The Quiet Place game as well this week.
Yeah, Quiet Place is coming out. Have you seen much about it? It actually looks like a very exciting game.
Until you mentioned it, I didn't know anything about it. I was like, that. Because it's like, is it activated through your microphone?
Yeah, you can turn on a setting so any noise that I make, the monsters will hear, which is pretty cool.
That's really interesting. I don't think there's a game really like that. Maybe Lethal Company, but I haven't played that myself.
Oh, Lethal Company is very funny. We played it, myself, Toad, and Bleachy played it not that long ago. And it was so funny.
Every time you died, and then it would like be you spectating, and then Bleach would be like, "Oh, I wonder if Stumpy died," and you're there like, "Yep."
Yep, I did. Oh, there was a great moment in it where I was obviously very new to the game. I think I've touched on this in a podcast before, but it was just so funny where Bleachy like used an item that shot her off a ledge to kill her, and I thought, "Oh, you're meant to go down there," and I jumped off this ledge and died to fall damage.
Is the definition of if your friend jumped off a bridge, would you jump too?
Yeah. Oh, literally. I actually once got in trouble in school for that because, what was it? Our entire class got brought into the vice principal for bullying one student, right? Because one student had made a list of like everything everybody had done to him, right? Nobody was bullying him. He was overreacting. But I walked in he took us in individual interviews, like, and I walked in, he goes, Stumpy,
That's
you've
what he said.
been,
He said Stumpy,
yeah,
right?
exactly. He goes, Stumpy, I've got here that you threw a paper ball at, let's call him Dexter. And I was sitting there and I was like, yeah, it was a paper ball fight in class. You know, everybody was doing it, and I just happened to hit him. And he just goes, oh, so if all your friends jumped off a cliff, would you jump off too? And I goes, well, if all my friends were jumping off a cliff, I'd like to believe somebody's worked out that we're going to survive. And I think I got a month's detention for that. So, just for being a smartass.
Yeah.
But
That's such a new thing to do, though.
it is. I was like, there's an opportunity for a joke here. I might get in trouble. I did not expect to get a month's detention for it, but to be fair,
That is a lot of punishment, to be fair.
there was something like 20 of us in detention for that month just because of all the list he'd made. It was fucking hilarious. But yeah,
Or next year.
should have fucking bullied him. But yeah, you have recently got yourself back into DVD as well, because we do touch on DVD quite a lot in this podcast. Surprising for a DVD podcast, I know.
I know.
But yeah,
So-
your mains then.
Yeah, so for Killer, I'm sure you know my main
I
is the
do.
Blight. He's just very fun. He's not as fun anymore because they made him less fun. They took away his skill expression, like half of it. But still, you can do some pretty cool things, I guess.
Mhm.
And I've played him like not kind of competitively, but not too much. Like I played in the format,
Mhm.
and yeah, it's kind of I don't know. And there's sometimes where like if you take a break from this killer, you are just like completely dead because the muscle memory just goes away, and then you're like shit. Then you have to spend your time learning him again, and then for me, I just end up getting burnt out of the game, and then I just quit again, and then I'm like, oh, now I'm gonna have to relearn the character again.
And was it the fun of him that got you into him in the first place, or was it like the
Kind
strength?
of- The strength is obviously like a factor, but I feel like the thing because I started playing on console at first, so there's not as much as that you can do on him on console, but I was trying to learn. Like I watched the original Lilith Omen Blight guide, if you know, you know,
Mhm.
and I kind of learned as much as I could from that on console, and he was just really fun. I knew he was strong, but that's not the reason I got into him. I got into him because he's like fairly not too easy to learn, as we've seen from your stream, but pretty difficult to master, obviously.
Oh, he's so different. I cannot get the hang of him at all. I'd rather
I think
try to play Nurse than try to play Blight, to be honest.
what you do is you swing too early. With Blight, you have to like wait until you're inside of the survivor and then you swing.
See, I
'Cause when
used to
you
wait, but then I always got spun when I waited, so I was like, right, I'm just gonna
Oh, yeah.
free swing here.
When you first release your attack, the hitbox is like really wide. So if they're anywhere near the hitbox, you'll just hit them. But like as you swing, when you're bringing the cane down, it like refines the hitbox into more precise of a point,
Mhm.
and then that's where you get like the inaccuracies and you miss.
Fair, I did not
But
know that.
there's a lot of things that go into playing Blight.
And then
And
Survivor
for
was.
Survivor, yes. I used to main Cheryl when I was on Xbox. So I played Cheryl. I played a bit of Nancy. I don't think
Mhm.
Rebecca was even out, who is my main now, on console. When I played on console, anyway. I don't think she was even in the game yet, but now she's my main because she's just like, she's a cute little survivor, little medic. I
Mhm.
don't know. I like her vibe. And then apparently everyone's like, oh, Rebecca players are pretty bad, to be honest. If we're being honest here. That's a
Fair enough.
stereotype. We're trying to break the stereotype here.
One main at a time, trying to break it.
Yeah. And I did start prestiging Vittorio as well. So he's
Mm-hmm.
probably like my second main.
And what was the
I know
choice on
Toad.
Vittorio?
Well, I don't know. They're next to each other on the character selection screen, which is quite satisfying for me because they're like, I don't know. Maybe there's something wrong with me,
That is the
but
best
that's
reason ever. That's class.
I'm gonna P100 him because he's next to my other P100.
So is the aim then to P100 that entire row? All four
Yeah,
of them?
I think the other ones on that row are Renato and Alita.
The day they change
So
that order and suddenly your P100s are all over the place, you will just
yeah,
cry.
they just all of a sudden they're like, you know what? Instead of release order, we're going alphabetical. And I'm like,
Mhm.
fuck.
So you've got a P100 Rebecca and not a P100 Blight. Do you think you'll ever P100 him
I did
or?
start putting all my blood points into him actually since recently.
Ooh,
So he's like prestige 33 now, I think.
holy fuck, you're
So
flying.
yeah, we're getting there. He was already like 26 before I came back, but since then
Mhm.
I've been playing a bit more. But recently the killer queues have been horrible for me. It's been like 5 to 10 minutes for every game.
Oh
I don't know
fuck.
if that's just me.
Kind of depends on the time of day. I find some days I'll just pop into killer games straight away and it's class, and then other times you're kind of stuck for a while and you just gotta talk to chat. Those horrible beings.
Yeah, mostly I just queue up and then I tab out, and sometimes I like don't realize I'm in a game, and then I tab back in and I'm like, oh, there's one gen left.
Do you see the wee flashing symbol at the bottom and you go, oh shit.
Yeah, because that's what it does. It starts flashing. It's like, come back, please.
Yeah, I've kind of reverted to an old main of mine when it comes to Survivor, where now I am. Anytime I'm playing Survivor, I'm playing Killer again because obviously I've picked up a lot more Killer lately, and that's mostly because I'm trying to get on rail to P100, but I've also tried to actively get better at all Killers. And I fucking hate Sables. I'm saying, I know there's a lot of Sable mains out there, and I myself have a P100 Sable, but I can't stand them. Cocky little shit in a nice way, like, but no, there is some nice ones out there, but a lot of them are the nastiest little shitters that
The
you'll ever meet.
a breed of survivors.
Yeah,
It's like
they'll click and they'll teabag and all that, and then they'll go down in 5 seconds, and then they'll call you
it's like a
boring
mixture,
because of it. And
the mixture between Nia and Meg. Like you
yeah,
have the cocky little survivor being Nia, and
hmm
then you have like the one that goes down in 5 seconds, which is Meg. Obviously,
yeah,
shout out to Nectarine there.
oh yeah, absolutely, the Meg man of all time.
One of the Meg. Like we were playing the other day, and
Hmm
there was this other Meg who looked exactly like her, and I was like, if there was no name on my screen, I would think this was you.
Just hiding
And
behind a
then
rock.
you raided that guy the other day as well, and he was also
Oh yes, he was
one
a
of
Meg man.
he was the Meg main. There was no one.
He was a
No one
great
could
Meg
compare.
man.
Yeah. He rated him with like 20 viewers, and he's like, he didn't even react. He just didn't even have a mic. He's just like, oh,
It was
I don't even
beautiful.
know if that guy, I don't even know if he knew it was streaming, to be honest.
I don't know, but he was enjoying himself. He was going for the last
Yeah.
lock of pips for Erie 1, so fair fucks to him. I haven't actually hit
Mhm.
Erie 1 Survivor in a long time, which
I
sounds
have not
crazy, because I was
either.
a diehard Survivor main, and then one day I just went, yeah, I don't like this anymore. I'm going to the other side. Going to the dark side.
Survivor is a lot of downtime, which kind of bores me.
Yeah, I hate doing generators now. I think I've just become fed up with them.
Yeah, but usually it's just one person gets to chase for the whole time or until they die because they get tunneled. And
Hmm
then the other people do gens for that whole time. And then when they do get into a chase, the person who got tunneled already dropped all the pallets. So you
hmm
just die.
I find myself
But
really
yeah,
living up to the mantle of being a Sable. You know, now I'm just looking chase every time I'm playing Survivor. I'm like, here, killer, I'm here.
yeah.
Come after me. And I'll balance landing
I,
away and he's fucking hitting me.
I guess this kind of segues into the next topic as well of how the game feels right now.
Yeah. How do you feel about the game? Do you think
Um,
it's killer sided, survivor sided? Do you think it's fun? Is it getting stale? Where do you think it's at?
I think with my break, I come back and it's quite fresh and
Mm-hmm.
fun. But then I was playing with heavy 222,
Mm-hmm.
the original, the other day.
The
Well,
original.
yesterday actually, and we did not escape one game. I don't think. Like I think every single game, the killer would just find someone and just tunnel them to death, and then obviously there's like 3 gens left, so they'd probably just win.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that has anything to do with rank reset? And there is usually a
Maybe.
bit of a sweatiness in that first week as people try and grind the ranks.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like you get more pips if you like go play fair because you get it in every category, right?
True. Very true.
But I don't know. I feel like it's killer sided depending on how you play. Because if you tunnel someone out, especially on a strong killer like Nurse, I know there's one big sway Nurse man who's missing today,
Mm-hmm.
and I saw him doing his streak, and he just finds one survivor, downs them, and then he just kind of sits in the area of the hook, and then once everyone's around there, he's like, "Yeah, let's slug everyone," and I'm like, "Wow,
Fair enough.
he's the best."
Still tries to claim he's not a nurseman as well, but we all know
Yeah,
the truth.
biggest Nurse man that I know.
Oh, massive nurseman. He doesn't like to admit it, but he's a massive nurseman.
I don't
Yeah.
even. I mean, the closest thing he has to his next man is probably Chucky.
Not Blight?
No, I mean he has a P100 blight, but he told me that was just because like I don't know. I think he did it when he wasn't even that good at blight, and he's like, yeah, I just want a P100. That's what I heard.
Fair. That was always my worry about Onryo, that if I P100 or too soon, I'm going to be the shittest P100 Onryo. But I've gotten to the level now that I'm like, okay, I can at least justify being a P100. Like, I know P100 doesn't really show your skill, and you can see some of the like
Yeah,
players you play against to be P100 and they'd be the worst player you've ever seen. But
I feel like P100 survivors are really bad most of the time.
I think enough time has passed that pretty much everybody has a P100 survivor now at this stage.
But it's always that like P5 ace who juices you.
Oh, absolutely. Or I was gonna say the Renatos, but they're more like cocky and then go down.
Yeah, Renato's an interesting one. I feel like he's a pretty comp survivor though. A lot of
Mhm.
comp players like him.
Yeah, I think I've been getting more people who like are seeing the game as sweaty. You know, I'm getting talked to Azarovs and Macmillan a lot more, which Wise did
Yeah,
warn me about. He's like, yeah, when you hit a certain level on Killer, you'll get brought to those maps instead of Eerie, and it's more because they want to practice. So,
yeah, the comp players they love mostly Macmillan, to be honest.
hmm,
Like Macmillan Bone is like the comp player offering.
yeah,
But I think
it's
you've been getting really good on Andrea since recently.
I've not been doing too bad on her. I have a depth fear of just starting my stream for streaks and losing both streaks immediately. But at the
Yeah.
same time, a part of me is just going, if I lose my streaks, I can just do whatever the fuck I want on her and I can have
Yeah.
so much fun.
The stress is gone.
Yeah, it's what started off as a really fun one, the perkless one, has now become the biggest stressor because I'm sitting there going, I'd like this to be quite good. You know, I'd like this to finish on quite a
Yeah.
high number. It's only on like 20 at the minute, but if I could get it up, I'd be happy.
But then obviously, like, I think there's some. If you ran into some certain team with that, without perks and Onryo, I think you would probably not really have a chance of winning just with the nature of the game.
I actually had that team. I think it was game 19, and I didn't get anywhere near condemning any of them. I killed one of them with like 2 gens left. When the final gen popped, all 3 survivors were up and alive, and I ended up just slugging the 3 of them just to try and save the game, and it worked, thank God. But
Was it altruism that won it, or was it just you did really well? I wasn't there for that
I
game.
think I
I did
just
see one
Hmm?
on Erie. You had one condemned, and like every just ran over, and then they just ended up losing because they were way too altruistic.
Oh yeah, that was actually I took that game off streak because I'd been given a separate build by another honorary man that I know, and I says, "Look, I'm not going to count this towards streak." We 4K'd in it. It was class. So they all came to the shack where I was completely going for the person that was condemnable, and the other 3 went, "Oh no, you're not getting a condemned kill," only to hand me a 4K instead.
Kill everyone instead. You
Yeah,
don't
they
get
were
this
actually
condemned
doing
kill,
really
but
well
you
up
get
to that
everything
point
else.
too.
Yeah,
But
At that
that's
point,
Hmm?
maybe one person going for the hit and then the other two on gens, and you can get maybe 2 or 3 out.
Yeah, I find altruism on any killer is so good. And it's why tunneling kind of works even better than just taking one person out. If you're going to
Yeah.
tunnel somebody and they're like on death hook, and you get 2 or 3 of the other survivors coming in to take hits, you're loving life because you know nobody's on generators.
Yeah,
That's
you
the
have all the
dream.
pressure,
Yeah.
and they think they're like taking your pressure away by like extending the chase time. But if you extend the chase time and nobody's on gens, then it doesn't even matter.
Yeah, I noticed it for the first time in that tournament I played in recently of Frenchies that I think it was Raker. He was on death hook anyway, but I had him condemnable and I was going for him. And the rest of them
Yeah,
didn't want to let him die to condemn because I think they've just thought, right, if we can keep 4 people for as long as possible, we have really good pressure here. But in the I ended up with somebody on hook, Raker condemned anyway, and 2 other people injured that then had to go and reset, and it just gave me so much pressure. Like,
yeah.
altruism does absolutely mess up a team if they don't do it right.
It
But
should really be like one person's going in for the hit to extend the chase a little bit because that's usually enough. Like you always have like, if you know what I mean, if you play solo queue,
mhm.
you'll always be like in a chase and you're doing fine, and then someone just comes in for the hit and it basically does nothing for you.
Yeah, if anything, it just hands them a fucking injury. Like, it's
Yeah,
you're going that hit didn't do much for me. They're still gonna get me, but now you're way weaker, and you either need to go and reset, or they're gonna find you and put you on a hook straight away. But
yeah, exactly. I
yeah,
think I was playing with you this one time. We were on Coldwind against a Bubba, and
hmm
I was like juicing this Bubba for like 3 minutes. And then all of a sudden, this Neo just runs across the map and gets down instantly while I'm in the middle of a chase. And I'm like, well, thank you, but I
but
don't know why you
why?
did that. And then I think we lost that game as well.
Yeah, so thanks for thinking of me, but why did you do that? It was going really well.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, snowball can come in at any stage in the game. Like, there's games I've seen where people might have no hooks at 3 generators, and then you look back 5 minutes later and they have everyone dead at 3 generators, and you're going, what the fuck just happened while
Yeah.
I was away?
I think that's basically what happened when you were playing on that Eerie game. I was like, oh yeah, he's not in the best spot here. Then I
Mhm.
look back and you've like got like 2 people down. The guy's still condemned.
Yeah, that's the dream. As soon as that red ring flashes on someone, I've kind of taught myself to not be completely focused on it because I've lost games before, just pure going for the guy who's condemned.
Yeah.
But survivors kind of see it and they're like, shit, let's not let him die. And it helps so
Well,
much.
yeah, our team is dead if we don't do this.
Yeah, they're sort of looking at it as like, oh, there's 2 generators or 3 generators left, and 3v1 is a lot harder than 4. We can't let them get condemned.
But yeah, they were on a strong map anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So that player, even without a hit, if they played it well, they probably could have lasted long enough for all the gens to get finished.
Yeah. That's another fun fact for you. I don't know the last time I went to Erie off RNG alone. I think it did the last maybe 15 times I've been there, I've been brought there.
Maybe they just removed it from the pool of like
It's
non-map offerings because they're like, oh yeah, the people get sent there enough anyway.
it's fucking mental. What I have noticed is an unbelievable amount of cold wind lately.
hmm
I don't know if it's boosted or what's going on, but I've ended up there fucking so much.
Well, I was in Wise's stream the other day, and he was talking about how he hasn't had Hawkins yet on his nurse streak,
Jesus.
which is quite
Yeah.
fun for him.
Wise's nurse streak, for those of you who don't know, is on 103 right now. Which
He beat
is,
his record of
yeah,
102.
it is the
I
highest
think
controller nurse streak ever, as far as I know.
recorded ever, yeah.
Yeah. I
So
said he
he's gonna
should
make a
submit that.
video on that, I think.
Hmm. That'll be an interesting one to see.
Indeed.
But yeah, we did meet actually, where we were playing like a comp type of DBD, or we were playing an attorney. And how do you think that went, or like Do you think you got more competitive in DBD since that, or like was that just the beginning for you in comp DBD, or was it just I'm going into this for fun and you didn't know how far you were gonna go competitive wise?
Yeah. So when we first went into that, we met this. Well, I met this streamer. Like I played against him
Mm-hmm.
uh, as Blight actually, and then I went to his chat and I was like, okay, he seems cool. So I joined his server,
Mm-hmm.
and then I think after a week or two, I saw he's doing a tournament, and I didn't have like a team or anything, so I just like I was there like, okay, if I can find someone, then I'll play in it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, after that point, um, I did have a team. They obviously we're not like super good players, but I didn't really care. Obviously, we had Nectarine. She's probably the best player on the team, to be honest.
Without a
And
doubt.
yeah, that's how me and Nectarine met through that.
Mm-hmm.
And going into the actual tournament, we hadn't really like practiced or anything, so I wasn't like expecting to win. And obviously, there was a big power player in that tournament with the Mystical. I'm sure everyone here knows about Mystical. But yeah,
Yeah.
they were like the sweaty team to beat, and everyone's like, "Oh, I hate those guys. They're so sweaty."
In
But
those
in it,
tournaments, I always felt like such a fucking villain playing for
yeah,
Mystical, where it was like everybody's there and they're having the crack, and you kind of see the level of everybody, and you're going, "Fuck, we're so much sweatier than everybody."
like I was kind of like interested, and to a certain extent of like admiration of it, and being like, "Wow, these people really take this game seriously."
Oh no, the worst of it was I think what was it first game in we went against Huntress and we 4-man out of there with no hooks, and then it was like the semi-finals of it. We went against a Spirit, 4-man out of her with one hook, and it was like this is just you
It's
feel
just
like such a
bullying at this
prick.
point.
Yeah.
It's just cyberbullying.
Yeah, you just feel like such a dick at that stage. You're like, for fuck's sake, like it's
Yeah,
just
it's just like a normal casual player. It's like have you
yeah.
ever seen? Did you ever see the meme where it's like the guy's playing normally, and then there's a guy coming up to him, he's like sweating his fucking ass off, and he's like,
Yeah.
it's like yeah, they're just moseying around, and then you switch to like if you were to have a dual view, you switch to the comms of your team. It's like, oh, killer's here on me, 7. Make sure you do this gen, and the killer's there like, oh, I don't know what's happening here.
I will forever love the host's reaction to that though, because it did become evident that we had took it very seriously and were very much like the favorites and stuff. And I laughed so much, and it's nothing bad on the guy who was hosting that tournament, but watching back that final was fucking hilarious for the casting alone.
Yeah, so it was me
Because
and
oh,
in the final. Well, me and Stumpy's team in the final,
mhm,
and yeah, it was me playing Blight, and then obviously they had their Blight as well, which
yeah.
was like, yeah. But if you go back and like review the,
Oh, they can't. It was removed.
well, yeah, I mean, if you
But
did at the time go back and review the footage, it would be like, oh my god, Heccison just got the best hit ever. And then if you were to watch the other Blight playing, he'd be like, oh well, I guess he just got the hit. Um,
no, but it was very funny as well because the host obviously had for those of you who know of a setting in DVD called mute focus, and the entire audio would cut when he very clearly wasn't on the DVD screen. So
he's
he
just
was
on his
off
other
doing something
screen.
else in the middle of our game of like our Blight game, but then like he was completely locked in for Hex, and he was like, "What a great hit from Heccison!" And
Yeah,
then it would be like
it's
a hook for us, and you'd be like, "Oh, and another hook for Mystical." And
yeah, the just lack of enthusiasm.
yeah. But then from that, we obviously did a bit of comp DVD. And how did you find it? Like, we both sort of decided after a while of it that it wasn't for us and to leave the
Yeah,
team and go about our own thing. Still taking part in some streamer tournaments. But, like, do you think there's just you have to be too dedicated to it? But maybe it
I think
doesn't
yeah,
be as fun whenever you're like that, or like you have to be fully in on wanting to be the best of it, or what do you think this?
you do. If you want to make like actual money from being good at this game, you have to be like really, really good. say like a game like Fortnite, they did their like own built-in tournaments, but the prize pool of them was like so wide that you could get money even if you were like not the best.
Mm-hmm.
But DBD, it's obviously all like third party organized,
Yeah.
so you have to be known enough to get onto that. They don't have like inbuilt tournaments in the game, and then the actual players, they just know so much about the game that it's kind of like a cookie cutter kind of thing, where the same thing mostly happens every game.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, the killer's gonna hook someone. Say you're playing like Nurse, you play against Nurse on Cold Tower 1. The Nurse just runs to the first person they see, they down them. Then they're obviously just gonna chill around that hook until that person gets unhooked.
Mm-hmm.
And then they just go for the tunnel mostly, and you can't really do anything about that. So you don't really expect, like, there's killers that you don't expect to win against in the comp, like saying,
Mm-hmm.
and then Nurse is probably one of those. But yeah, that's kind of why it's kind of boring to me, because the same thing mostly happens. And what would happen when we were like practicing or doing like scrims? Like, do you remember when we would play against Oni,
Mm-hmm.
and then someone would get hit at 5 gens, and the guy who was like the team captain, he'd be like, "Oh, just DC guys, it's 4K2, it's 4K1, just
Yeah.
DC next game."
It kind of was just getting a bit monotonous, a bit fucking boring. And
Yeah,
I know I streamed a few of the scrims, and like my community weren't enjoying it at all either. They were sort of like, yeah, it's a
yeah,
bit shit. And whenever like you do make a mistake or something, the team just lights on you. It doesn't look good for you, and it's not entertaining to watch, and you don't want to see that person just getting ripped to shit for making one tiny mistake in a game
yeah.
that is very
And it
much
was so
centered around
funny
mistakes.
when we were promised fun custom games by these same people.
Oh my
And
god.
Stumpy was playing against, I think I was playing Myers, and we were like playing for fun only. And Stumpy was running Red Herring, and he was trying to get a Red Herring value, and he got absolutely blasted.
The funny thing was, the red herring value that I got was brilliant because you just hooked someone. And they were like, right, come and get the save quick, come and get the save quick. And I was like, hang on. And I hopped in a locker, and red herring hit like across the map, and you went to it. Then I got the save, and they were like, what the fuck are you doing? Come and
Hey,
get me
look.
off the hook. And I was there like, nah, the fish perk, the fish perk. The best thing was fucking Heccison comes back into the VC, feeling quite happy and, thinking it was a lot of fun and stuff, and we're just screaming the head off each other about them going, you should have just unhooked, and me going, I'm having fun, fuck yes.
The funny part was we were like promised fun custom games.
Yeah, because we'd kind of said, enough of the practice for a little bit, because it's getting so boring and way too serious. And it's like, even the top comp teams, when you watch them, are able to have the crack, and it kind of just completely sapped out of that team at that stage. But the customs were fucking hilarious just for the rows that went on.
Yeah.
I think
But I
just.
think the way we
Hmm?
first met is you were doing your FIFA stream,
Oh, yes.
and obviously I showing up there for the first time, and I was like your star player on your FIFA team. Not to
Yeah.
brag or anything,
So it
but
was set
I
up that,
was
like, every one of my followers, or like my most active followers, were all players in the team. And Hack managed to fluke his way to be one of the best players, like, because obviously you don't know whenever you start the team, but the players develop differently and they can become better. And Heccison became like the star player in the team. It was brilliant then, because it got everybody involved where they wanted to see if they were playing and stuff. It caused almighty arguments as well, don't get me wrong. It's like, why have you benched me? And it's like,
yeah.
because you're shit.
Why did you bench me? It's not even me. It's just some random AI
Yeah.
character. But yeah, I think off the back of that, I suggested we should play Apex Legends at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And then we kind of got into that for a bit. It was quite fun, actually.
It was.
We played with my friend. You played with Bailey on Apex, right, as well?
Yep. Bailey,
Yeah.
the pack
So
addict.
yeah, he bought a lot well, you bought packs as well.
I
You got an
did.
heirloom, and then like the first few days of you playing, and you're like, oh, I'll just get another one, and you just went all in.
I remember pissing off like proper hardcore Apex players with that. People who had been playing for like 5 years, and like 10 packs in, I got this fucking heirloom, which is supposedly so rare that you can only get it once in every 500 packs. And like, I remember speaking to somebody, his name is Rimu, and he'd been playing for like 5 years. And he said he had only ever got one heirloom, and he was beyond annoyed whenever I told him, "Oh, I got one after 10 packs," and he was like, "You fucking what? You're not serious."
You kept rubbing it in. You kept rubbing it in.
Yeah, I did. It had to be done. But yeah, no, we've played a good few games, and it always kind of just culminated in us going back to DBD. So it did.
Yeah, I think we haven't played it in a while.
Yeah, we haven't. To be fair, we need to get back at it. To be fair, it's because I don't really play Survivor anymore. I'm a bit of a fucking killer man these days.
Yeah, you're more of a lone wolf kind of guy now.
I don't know. It's just I find killer way more interesting because you're always in chase. You know, like if I was always in chase on Survivor, I'd love it. But it's the fact that you have to sit sometimes and do general. Like doing the objective is so dull. You know, I've got now, what, 2,000 hours in the game. It's just, I've done too many skill checks. I think I'm sort of sitting going, I've had my time. Let me go to the other side and just be in chase all the time. I kind of love the pressure as well of like, right, there's 4 people here that I have to like measure this game and balance out like who I'm going to take out. It's kind of fun.
That's the fun part. Like, I do enjoy Survivor sometimes, mostly with friends. If I'm playing alone, it's just depressing, honestly. But if you're playing with friends, it's all right because you kind of have that lightheartedness to like take away from all the sweat.
Big time. Like we did a streaker recently. Me, Heck, Yyys, and another streamer. And the other streamer was going mental while me and my Yyys were just messing about, but it was so funny because it was like that dynamic of like, yes, we had to take it serious to a certain extent because it was a streak and we were trying to do well in it. But myself and Yyys just fucking about over in a corner. I can't even remember what we were doing. I think we were just...
I remember there was one time you were running around the map looking for the Yamoka.
The Tanuki, yeah.
Like the whole game, and then the other streamer's obviously like, "Oh, what's everyone doing? Why are you not on?" You just cut to your perspective, and you're just running around edge, man.
Oh, I think I know what me and Yyys were doing now. We were like we were very close to the killer, and the killer was looking around for us, and we were like we were crouched and we were like popping our head up and then back down and then back up whenever they were there just to see if they could spot us. And I was like, all right, your turn. And he'd pop his head up and back down and he'd go, right, your turn. And we were just trying to give each other away to get caught.
Yeah.
That was fucking brilliant. It's just stupid shit like that you can end up doing in DBD is so funny.
Yeah, it's not always about winning.
No, it's like some of the moments you can have are great. So they are.
It's like the kind of moments where you do something silly and the killer looks at you like, what the fuck? And then just leaves. Yeah. Like if it was a sweaty killer, they're gonna like hit you and kill you. But if it's like a killer who's just having fun, they'll just stare at you for a second and then just leave. And that's like so funny to me.
Yeah, like the other day as killer, I had 2 games that were just so stupid. Because it was like the games were going really well for me. And then one of them was on Dead Dog, and I got into main, and there was I think it was Dwight just sitting behind the bar looking at me, just dying to serve me a drink. So I messed around with him, got a drink and stuff, and then went back to the killing. And I was like, that Dwight is elite. He stays, he doesn't die. And then similarly in the cinema map, it got down to like the last survivor, and instead of taking her to Hatch, I was like, come on, we're going to watch a movie. And into the fucking cinema we went. It's like little silly moments like that are just when the game's not as serious. It's so much fun.
Yeah, but a lot of killers, they don't really see that part of the game.
Yeah, I think the whole game, the game as a whole has become just that little bit sweatier lately, where it's like people trying to push that objective quicker, or killers trying to tunnel out camp to get a better chance of winning, and it's like everybody's doing everything they can to win, but it's nice.
Yeah,
it's nice to have
the
those
whole
games.
Mentality. Like you cannot play weak things anymore in this game because the other side, they've been playing against all sorts of sweat.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to be trying their hardest to win. And if you're just trying to be there and like try a fun build or try a fun strategy, you're just going to get absolutely gen rushed and shit on for that,
Mm-hmm.
which kind of takes away from the fun. You can't really have any variation. If you're not running slowdown as killer, you just lose most of the time by default.
Unless you're just genuinely brilliant at that killer.
Yeah, if your chases are quick, then it's not that much of an issue. But
Mm-hmm.
that only really applies to like the higher tier killers anyway.
Yeah. So having said that, do you think DBD lasts much longer? Like, do you think it goes on for another 10, what is it now, 8 years old? Do you think it goes on for another 8 years? Or do you think it's
I
going to
think,
hit that stage where people just go, right, we've had enough of this, good luck?
yeah, I think the game is lacking a lot of freshness. They have been doing for the last couple of years, like I don't know if it's a couple of years, last year maybe, of like the new game modes and stuff.
Mm.
I think they didn't really have anything like that before. It was just obviously like normal mode, like the anniversary events sometimes, which I don't know. I don't really like playing during events personally
Mm-hmm.
because it kind of switches up the game a little bit too much sometimes for me. That is kind of not really fun. But they did actually change that so you could like play normal mode or you can choose to play the event, which I quite liked.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's been 2v8, Lights Out, uh, Chaos Shuffle. That's
Mm-hmm.
another one. I think that is that it, or is there more?
Yeah, lights out, chaos, shuffle. I feel like there's one we're missing.
Yeah.
My Little Oni.
Oh yeah. That's
Yeah.
just a funny, goofy one that you could just. I mean, you play
Yeah.
that a few times and then you're like, yeah, that's it.
What has been your favorite out of them all, do you think?
Uh, I like Chaos Shuffle. I
Mm-hmm.
think 2v8 was fun for a little bit, but it kind of fucked with the rest of the game because the queue for normal mode was just like ridiculous during that time.
Mm-hmm. I think Chaos
Um,
Shuffle was really good at just getting perks out there that you mightn't use as much. Like,
yeah,
I know since doing it, I have kind of just fallen in love with Balanced Landing. I think it's great. It's one of my
yeah,
favorite perks. No, so it is. It's just a lot of fun
because
to play with.
it makes you try like perks that you would never use normally. Well, you
Yeah.
don't use perks anyway, but
Yeah, I'd never usually use perks on Survivor, so I don't. But recently I've tried out a few perks and I kind of been enjoying myself a lot more.
yeah, that kind of brings a bit of freshness back.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's kind of what they're trying to do is make it more fresh and fun.
Yeah.
But I feel like these game modes will only like last so long. Like, what else could they really do?
I still
Like,
think they should do reverse DBD.
yeah, that could be fun because I've seen you do that with was it Celeste and Kilo?
Yeah, Celeste and Kilo, we did a thing. I was meant to put a YouTube video out about it and have just procrastinated like fuck on that. But probably an easy way to picture it is if anybody's ever played Mario Kart, you, especially on the Wii, you filled your Wii license full of gold medals or like wins and races, and then you unlock this mode that was reverse, or I think they called it mirror.
It was Mirror, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
so it
where like
was,
every right turn is a left turn
yeah,
instead, basically.
it was your entire maps just backwards, basically, and it was so good, and it was a lot of fun to see the maps in that different way, and that's basically
Yeah,
what we did. Obviously the HUD and stuff looked really messed up because things were backwards on it, but if they did it properly, where your HUD was still on the same side, it's just the map was reversed, I think it could be really good. I'm not sure, like, I'd say a lot of work has to go into doing something like that, but I think it would be worth it. Like, I think the community would take really well to it, even if you only
yeah.
did a few maps. Like, I know my community, one of the maps they loved seeing backwards was RPD because it
It's
just
so
looks so
confusing.
crazy.
Yeah, it's like a completely different map.
Yeah, there was a loop I did with RPD that just is not a loop if you're doing it normally. But it's like if you're to go in through the front door RPD and go right, that little room, whatever way I looped, made the most of that little room. And I got such value out of that one window that you would
You
not
mean the one
believe.
that you fall into like the little box office area?
Yeah, That one.
Yeah.
I don't know how it worked, but I ended up getting really good value in there in reverse
Mhm.
DBD, and it's just because I was so confused and I headed for it because it was the first room I saw. Whereas, like in normal DBD, I'd know, okay, stay clear of that room, it's a death trap.
Yeah.
But it's like you just think differently when the whole map's in reverse, which was really, really cool.
Rewire your brain.
Yeah, completely. But
And
yeah.
speaking of Mario Kart Wii, it's such a class game. We were going to talk about, I don't know, I feel like Stumpy's probably already talked about his favorite games, so I guess it's down to me.
It's over to you.
Yeah. So my childhood for gaming was pretty interesting. So we had the old Xbox. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know actually if it was Xbox 360. I don't know if I'm too young for that. But
Mm-hmm.
we had Sonic the Hedgehog on that, and that was one of my favorites.
Mm.
Uh, obviously, the Wii games, Mario Kart Wii, New Super Mario Brothers Wii, were just
Mm-hmm.
amazing games. So much fun. And I had a DS as well. Did you ever have like one of them dodgy cards on your DS?
Yeah, the one with like 60 games in it.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
I played. Probably I don't really remember the names of any of those, but DS was like one of my like classic consoles kind of. I think I
Mm-hmm.
had a 2DS, 3DS, DSi as well. And
Mm-hmm.
then I think it was my 3DS. I think I left it on like the kitchen stove by accident.
What the fuck?
my, my mum put the stove on and melted it. And I was like, what the fuck?
Jesus.
I think she didn't realize that it was there. Or maybe she did and she's like, yeah,
That just
fuck me.
sounds like the modern equivalent of, oh, I left my Pokemon cards in my jean pockets and my mum washed them and they melted. That's you brought them that to the modern day where you're like, yeah, I left my
Yeah.
console sitting on the stove and it got burnt.
Such a weird thing to do.
Yeah, what a strange place to put a DS.
And just where I keep it when I'm not using it.
Yeah. Fuck. But then
Yeah.
you haven't touched on a game there. We gotta talk about it. What the fuck is going on with you and the Binding of Isaac?
Oh,
The
the binding of
hours you've put into that game and the fact that you've 100%ed it.
I've nearly 100%ed it twice actually. I'm on my
Jesus
way.
Christ.
But yeah, it's I don't know. I think the way that this game plays is just it, it gives me so much dopamine in my brain that I just love it.
Fair
It's kind of
enough.
like a little dungeon game where you just go around and you find like items
Mm-hmm.
and then you have to kill the enemies and then you go through all the different rooms and then there's bosses and stuff obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But it's more complicated than it seems. Like there's a lot of like min maxing to do. I don't know. Nobody understands except me. And I just recently passed $1,000 on the Binding of
Jesus.
Isaac.
A
It's
thousand hours.
almost above DBD on Steam anyway.
That's
But
mental.
I have like almost 2,500 on DVD, probably including with console. But yeah.
So then, is there any games that are coming out or like that you've seen advertised that you're thinking, oh, that's a bit of me. I can't wait till that comes out. I'm gonna play the shit out of that.
Yeah, I mean I don't really have any games like that. Trying new games is not really something that I do too often. Like I have a lot of games on my Steam library that I just haven't really touched.
Mm-hmm.
Like Elden Ring, everyone says that's really good, but I played it for a little bit and I kind of just go back to kind of comfort games. You know what I mean? Instead of
Yeah.
like trying something new, it's like, yeah, I'll just stick in my own little bubble here.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
fair.
I played Terraria for a little bit. I guess something I am looking forward to is Spider-Man 2 coming to Steam. I
Oh,
think
it
that's
does
actually
look good.
fairly soon that it will be as well.
It's the one with
So I'm
Venom,
looking
isn't
forward
it?
to that. Yeah, with the Venom.
Yeah, it looks really good.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, I mean, there's not really too many. Like, obviously, you have like your Steam sales that happen every so often. I think Hades looks pretty fun. That's
Mm-hmm.
supposed to be similar to like the Binding of Isaac. So
Mm, cool. Definitely ones to look
yeah,
out for then.
Silent Hill 2 obviously just came out as well.
I've kind of stayed clear
Casting
of people playing that in case I want to play it myself.
Yeah,
Or
that would
like,
be a fun game on stream. Obviously, you have
yeah.
the casting of Frank Stone, the best game ever.
See, I've heard a lot of bad reports about the frame rate on that game.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of bad reports about everything on that game.
It's kind of put me off like buying it until I know it's
It's
completely
really,
sweet.
it's really expensive, to be honest, for like a spin-off story kind of game.
Yeah.
Like 30 quid.
Its release kind of reminded me of Cyberpunk, where all I heard back from people was, "Oh my god, this didn't work on it, or that didn't work on it, or this was glitched on it," and I'm going, this sounds familiar.
Yeah. But Cyberpunk's in a good place now.
Cyberpunk's in a really good place. I remember playing it like when the glitching was still going on, and it was so funny. There's one
That's
scene
like
that I've referred
oh,
back to a few times where it's like it was a cutscene or whatever, and the cutscene ended in a really weird, like the character had went off where he was meant to go. So the cutscene ended with him like walking into a wall, and then he was coming out of this like locker that was in the room, and there was stuff in the locker, so the locker exploded. And it was just like paper and random items shooting all around the room, and I was kind of standing there going, "Yeah, they've fixed this game nicely."
That's fun. And there's another one like that. If you know No Man's Sky,
I've heard of it, yeah.
apparently that's like a space exploration game. At first, from what I heard, it was like pretty bad. I kind of guess the same as Cyberpunk was, but now they've fixed it up apparently.
Mm. I haven't said that. That was like issues that I had whenever I came on the PC. Was with that game and like my PC trying to run it at like high settings and stuff. But you've been on PC a while now too. Would you recommend swapping to PC for anybody that's thinking of making the swap, or do you think you'll ever go back to console?
Just give me a sec. I think I'm lagging a little bit.
No, no worries.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear it.
Okay. So I think if anyone's playing DBD and they're thinking of getting a PC, sorry, the main thing is that obviously you get filters because the game by itself just looks pretty horrible, to be honest.
Yeah, it's
Like
very dark on console.
the way old DVD used to play is that the darkness would be kind of part of it. Like you're going to be hiding in the dark.
Mm-hmm.
But the game evolved since then to be more about like chasing. And with like console, they have obviously like the devs have made the maps brighter in general, but it's still quite dark on a lot of maps, like Borgo, for example, and Macmillan is pretty dark as well. But if you use filters, then it makes it a lot easier to see like scratch marks because you can highlight the red more. And obviously you get the frame rate as well, which is like a big thing.
Yeah, I
Because
know.
whenever you're playing on console, you have 60 FPS, right? And you're like, oh yeah, this is fine, this looks great. When you
Mhm.
switch to PC, you're like, wow, this is like completely different. And then anyone
Yeah.
who's on console is like, what the fuck? It looks the same. But once you actually switch, you realize like how much better it actually is.
Yeah, I know one of the like filters that I have for my game, that would never want to go back is cold wind. I have a filter that makes the corn green. It kind of dulls the colors a bit, and it just. I know if I was playing cold wind 10 times in a night, I'd end up getting a headache from just the brightness and the yellowness of that map. So I think like little filters like that are so nice on it, and you're kind of looking at it wondering like, why can't they change the map to look like this? Like, why is this a third party that
Yeah,
has to come in and do this?
they did do it with Borgo. They made it a bit more like accessible and like reasonable with the coloring.
Yeah, that's true. But it's like the likes of, well, Cold Wind would be the one I hated the most. It's just so
Yeah,
bright.
because on that map, you cannot. If you run aura perks on killer on that map, you can't even see the auras half of the time.
Yeah,
At
it's
least
just
for
too
me, anyway.
yellow.
Maybe I'm just colorblind, but I'll use barbecue and chili, and I'll be like, okay, I can't see anyone. So
Fair. Yeah, so then if we take it away from DBD, you have recently started back at uni. How's that going?
this is actually my first year.
Oh,
So
so you've started at
yeah,
uni. How's that going?
I yeah. So I moved into my new new apartment. It's a
Mhm.
student accommodation. I've got everything I need in here. New little kitchen, little bathroom. And
Cool.
it's quite, as a kid, I would always like imagine these like apartments as like really cozy. Like everything's in the same room,
Mhm.
and it is quite cozy to be fair.
Mm.
But yeah, like I don't know if that's just me, but maybe it's like a weird little thought that I have as a kid. Like everything being in the same room, it's just such a nice feeling to me.
Yeah.
Maybe I sound like crazy, but yeah, obviously. So I'm studying adult nursing,
Mhm.
so it's kind of been a slow start for me anyway. Like a lot of the lectures and stuff have been quite boring, to be honest.
Fair
Like with what
enough.
they're talking about, but I guess they do have to talk about it because it's like healthcare stuff. You have to know this stuff, but it's
Yeah.
mostly stuff that I was already kind of aware of. But
Mhm.
yeah, eventually we're going to be getting into like placements, and that should be a bit more fun.
That'll be the
But
exciting
yeah,
bit.
exciting. But yeah,
Mm. Fair enough.
obviously you never went to uni, but if you did, what would you have studied?
Probably something to do with like architecture. I think my job comes sort of similar to it. Like the design work that I do is like it's not architecture, but it would be designing up different structures and buildings and stuff, and it's along the same lines. So it just makes good sense that if I was to go to uni, it would have been to do that. However, I have kind of considered going maybe part time to uni to do something on the lines of a social media course lately because
Hmm.
I think that could be really good and like through streaming and stuff. I think I've really enjoyed this, but I've also seen pretty much every business I'm in, and I'm fortunate enough to like have members of the family that own businesses. And I'm kind of looking at their businesses going, if you had a social media presence, if you had like even a page on the likes of like TikTok and stuff, just to maybe showcase your products in a fun way, you could be a lot bigger than you are. And I've said this to them, and they're sort of like, oh, we're not sure. We'd have to get someone specialist in to do that. And I'm kind of going, right, that could be something. If I learned that, I could put it to any fucking business that I'm involved in at all. And that could
Yeah,
really take them to another level. Or like, I kind of think it's going to become something you have to have in a business very soon if it's not already important, because the social media presence of a business can be massive. You look at the likes of Potty Power, they've got one of the best social media teams you'll ever see. They put up controversial stuff, they put up funny stuff. As soon as anything happens in the sports world, they are on it. They are there to give a bit of abuse, a bit of slagging, something memorable, make a joke about something, or the likes of Deadpool. Their team for promoting the movie was unbelievable. Some of the stuff they came up with was hilarious and got people talking about the movie. It's like if you could do that, but for
yeah.
your everyday business, it would help a lot.
Did you see the popcorn buckets for Deadpool and Wolverine?
Oh,
Where
I
it's
didn't
like their
actually.
heads, their mouth is like open, and that's the popcorn area.
Oh my god, I didn't see that one. I've seen like different billboards and stuff for them that are just brilliant.
Hmm. Yeah, it's like word of mouth isn't really enough these days for most businesses, is it? So
Yeah, you kind of
you have
just
to
you
be
need a presence
creative.
out there, like,
Hmm.
especially when you see like different stuff advertised on the likes of like Facebook, Instagram, things like that. And it is stuff if it's advertised well where you're going, oh, actually, I could use that. It's
Yeah,
kind
there's
of
a lot of adverts that I kind of like. Oh, like yeah, I don't want to see this. Like, but
yeah.
there is a lot of like more creative adverts that actually like present the product quite well instead
Mhm.
of like I don't know if you see all these mobile game adverts, but they're fucking awful. It's just like people play the game horribly, and I think
Yeah,
their idea is like, oh, I guess you could play better than this, so just come prove that you can. Then you end up being like, okay, you really haven't showcased the game well there. Like imagine you see a DVD advert and it's just a Meg running into a wall and
yeah.
dying. And then it's like, oh, could you do better?
I
It's
gotta
like,
say, there is some adverts though that are very funny because of how bad they are. Like, there's
yeah,
just the premise of them, and like, I'm not trying to take digs at companies or anything like that, but there is. I don't know what game it is. I've never cared enough to play it, But I love seeing their adverts coming because it'll be like this husband and wife about to get married, and this man breaks into the chapel, and he just goes, "Wait, don't marry him. He's only got 1,000,000 power. I've got 50,000,000 power on
And then
whatever
she's
the
like, yeah,
gaming thing is." And she's
oh
like,
my
"Oh my god, yes!" And she goes straight for him. And it's like those are just so comical. Like it's brilliant. I seen a meme about it the
It's
other day,
just
and it's like
so
when you're about to
funny.
marry your wife, and the guy with 50,000,000 power walks in, and it's like, no. It's just great.
It's just so funny to imagine that happening in real life.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good. Like it's
Like if you
some
ever
of them
see
are
the one where the
hilarious.
guy's like he's getting bullied for being like a loser with 84 power. And then
Yeah.
he comes back later in the day, he's like, yeah, look at me now. I got 300 power.
Yeah.
And then like, oh my god, I didn't realize you were so good.
Oh yeah, some of them are just hilarious. Like, but then the really annoying ones are the ones that like do have they look like a good game, you know, it's like, oh, I could waste a bit of time playing that. And then you click on it on the game page to see, and you're going, well, this game is nothing like the game they've
Yeah,
advertised. Like it's
I don't even get how that would even benefit you to advertise a different game to what you're actually putting out.
I suppose if people don't really look at the game page, they might just download it straight away and not realize until they've played it for a few minutes that, oh, this is nothing like the games you see advertised.
So would they not rather like advertise their game for what it is, and then people who are actually interested would download it and
Mm,
probably like be into it? Or do they just care about the individual download, even if you uninstall the game afterwards?
I think in terms of like getting sponsors and stuff, the individual download matters. So it's like if you can say, oh, 50,000 people downloaded my app, come and advertise with us. Like I know Clash of Clans has on it that it's been downloaded over 50,000,000 times.
Yeah.
Like so it must be a big selling point for them two sponsors, I would say. Fun fact about Clash of Clans as well, I actually downloaded it by accident. Back way back. I've been playing it for fucking years. But when I initially downloaded it, I was looking for something else, and then I played it for like an hour and went, "I love this game. I'm gonna play this game forever." And I fucking
You have
10 years again. I'm still I'm fucking still putting time into it. But that's the sign of a good game too. You know.
yeah. If you can keep coming back to it, then
Yes, it is
it's a
like
good game.
DBD. As much as people will complain about it and take their breaks from it, the fact that you're only taking a break from it and not full cold turkey quitting shows that you
Yeah.
still enjoy the game, and it is a decent game.
Like there's a lot of games like that that you just quit and you're like, yeah. Like mm, if you know like Apex or like Fortnite, like
Mm-hmm.
I don't really have any desire currently to go back to those kind of games
Yeah.
because the way that they've made it is like I don't know, the gameplay is just repetitive and kind of stale. And
Mm-hmm.
especially with like Fortnite, it just looks ridiculous to me now. Like everything that's in that game. It's just not even like a shooting game anymore. It's just like advertisement for everything.
Yeah, it's kind of they've got even put characters in that game now where you're sort of going, okay, this is just
Like
completely different now than it used to
yeah, it's
be.
like this is a kids game and they've got some crazy characters for it being a kids game.
Yeah, it is mad. But then DBD then. I play a lot of the Onryo, and I was going to say recently, but it was a little while ago, we watched the Ring movie, the Japanese original version. What was your take on it? What did you think of it? Obviously, it is a bit older, so it wasn't exactly the scariest movie, but I thought it was good. I thought, especially for like the time and stuff, I can see why people loved it so much.
Yeah, I think for the time it would have been really scary actually, like a lot of movies from that time. But I don't know, compared to the American version is more like based around like scary kind of jump scare vibe.
Mm-hmm.
But this one's more like you just have this. I don't think you see Sadako's face that much in the movie, or you don't
Mm-hmm.
even really see her at all.
No,
But
you
it's
see her
kind of
eye
like,
just in that version, whereas in the American version, I think they do show her face. I'm
they show
pretty
her like
sure.
full, like they make it a big point that like, oh, there's this big scary woman, but the
Mhm.
fact is, like, if it's more of an underlying presence, it's more like impactful to me anyway. If it's not like
Mhm.
in your face constantly, that you just kind of get bored of it. You're like, yeah, just killed them already.
Yeah. I think watching it back recently as well was cool because obviously I've gotten a lot more into playing Sadako in the game, and you can notice every one of her add-ons in the
Yeah,
movie.
that's what we were doing, wasn't it? We were there like,
Yeah,
oh, there it is. That's Reiko's watch. That's the Wellstone.
yeah. There's the well water. There's fucking
That's the iridescent videotape right there.
yeah. Oh my god! Look, it's the videotape copy. It's just like, oh my
It's their
god!
name
There's the
there.
bloody fingernails.
There's the bloody thing.
Yeah, there's Yoichi. It's
It's just fun to be like light-hearted about it.
yeah. I think DVD has really added that to it, where you can just
Yeah.
watch different movies and be like, oh my god, there's such and such a thing that this is based on in the game, and it's
I think
quite
we were
cool that
talking
way.
about like there was a storm in the movie, and we're like, oh, that's a merciless storm going on right there.
Yeah. Phone rings up. That must be Brian.
All of Brian.
Yeah.
What's the other one? What is the Floods of Rage.
Floods of rage. Ah, yes, there was a bit of water bouncing about, and we were like, oh, these floods, they're getting rageful.
Rageful Floods, right?
It's just little silly things you can do like that. But it does show that they did stay true to the source material, naming so many things after them and like basing so many things on the movie, which is cool.
Yeah.
So then, what would be your favorite scary movie of all time? Like, obviously, it's not The Ring. But what would your favorite one, if
Yeah.
you were to watch it back again? You're thinking, you know what, I'd love to go and watch that again, or one that you think I'd love to experience that for the first time again.
Obviously, it has to go to the Netflix Texas Chainsaw
Oh
Massacre.
dear God.
If you have seen that movie, you know that that's very much not the case.
No, it's oh
Um,
God.
the original Halloween movies are a lot of fun, if
Yeah,
you've seen those. But
before
I
they
don't
got a bit
think,
wild.
yeah, before they made Myers into like some ethereal being who can't die.
Yeah, there's
A
actually.
lot of the fun, like scary movies, are the ones that like poke fun. Like Scary Movie, obviously the series is a lot of fun to watch.
Mhm.
Uh, and A Haunted House is a really fun movie as well. They kind of like poke fun at the kind of current, well, not current, but like the horror movies that are, quite popular. Like they've done a spin off of Scream, obviously.
Mhm.
Even Scream itself is not really like taking itself too seriously.
Mhm. That's one of the
But
good things about it.
yeah, so a lot of horror movies are like, oh, taking it way too seriously, and they don't really build like anything up, to be honest.
Mhm.
And it's just all of it's put into like one jump scare, or like one jump scare every 5 minutes instead of actually building an atmosphere.
Yeah. I think I actually was looking back at some of the movies. Like, I think they're lucky that maybe 20 years ago they had movies coming out that really shaped horror, whereas now it's kind of the same sort of thing over and over again. But like an example of how it used to be a lot better when it came to horror, I seen someone put a picture and it's like every 90s kid is terrified of this, and it was a lorry or
With
a
the
big
logs.
truck with the logs on it, and it's like every 90s kid is fucking terrified of driving behind this. And it's like,
Mhm.
yes, so true. It's like that it would send a shiver down even people's spines who don't watch um a significant amount of horror movies. Pretty much everybody's seen that and was like, oh shit, that's terrifying now.
Ooh, one interesting one. I don't know if you've seen this. It's called Hush. It's about a deaf woman who's like in her secluded house, and someone comes up and like tries to kill her.
Oh, I've
It's
heard of
quite
it, but I've
a.
never seen it.
We should watch it. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, we
It's
actually
like
will have to.
because it's not like a normal kind of cookie cutter thing. Like they make it different, which is not really too common nowadays, is it? So
Very true.
and the It movies as well. Well, the original one. with the clown. They're quite fun and interesting.
I actually thought the new It movies, the first one was really good. I wasn't too
Yeah.
sure on the second one. I felt like it was trying to be too funny,
Mhm.
but the first
Yeah,
one
I
I
mean,
thought was very good.
I think they kind of just made a sequel because they want money, which is a
Yes.
big problem in like the current
Mm-hmm. There's
like
actually a very
entertainment.
good movie out there recently, and it was done by two YouTubers, or like it was directed by two YouTubers, and it's called Talk to Me, and it was very
Yeah,
good. So it was like, as new horror movies go, I thought it was really good.
and Hellraiser actually, I've seen that. I
Yeah,
don't know if you've
Hellraiser's
seen
a
them.
weird one.
They're really strange, but it's not really horror, is it? It's more like
Torture.
gore.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's a few movies are like that. The likes of Hellraiser, the likes of uh,
Terrifier.
Terrifier. Yeah, a lot of them are just gore for the sake of gore. It wouldn't be my cup of tea, but I know a lot of people do like it.
Yeah, but Hellraiser is really, it's not all about the gore. It's kind of like an interesting, at least in the first two movies. But then, like, after that, it's just ridiculous what
Yeah,
they've been doing.
it's an interesting concept of like, oh, they love pain and stuff, but
Yeah,
it is strange. I think the lament configuration though is one of the coolest like
yeah, it's
little
really
items
iconic.
from horror though. I'd love to make some sort of setup, like obviously not here. This is just a flat that I'm renting, but eventually, whenever I did have a proper house of my own, I'd love to have a shrine of just like, or like a little shelving area of just random cool things from horror movies because I fucking love them.
Yeah, I mean, what would other examples of that be? Like a videotape,
Freddy's hand, a videotape from, or a videotape copy from The Ring. There'd be,
Ghostface mask.
yeah, probably Myers mask. A lot of them are mask based, aren't they? Because you're thinking like Jason is his mask based. Fucking Bubba would be some sort of face, you would think, or a chainsaw that looks like his.
Yeah, obviously, yeah, the chainsaw would be one. I guess you could
Yeah.
have like a phone as well for Ghostface.
Yeah, true. I'd love to see like a Chucky, maybe a good guy doll or something.
Yeah, or the Chucky's. I think a lot of people use like kitchen knives. Obviously, reverse bear trap as
Yeah,
well.
Reverse Bear Trap's an iconic one.
Hmm.
You didn't see the like massive gold Reverse Bear Trap at SawCon?
I haven't seen anything about Socon actually.
Suck on these nuts. Anyway,
Yeah,
it had to be tried. But yeah, Saw is actually a really good set of movies, so it is. It's really cool. It's just you're kind of
yeah,
going, how many fucking assistants does Jigsaw need? But aside from that,
yeah.
but
The
yeah,
new ones are
then
quite interesting, I guess. I feel like they just keep all these movies. They keep bringing it back just for the sake of it because it's popular.
yeah, I will say I wasn't a big fan of Spiral, but
Yeah,
if we sort of omit that, I really like the Saw series, so I
yeah.
do. So then, if we're to go beyond like movies and stuff, what is your that go like across the media to YouTubers and Twitch streamers? Who would be like your favorite YouTuber to watch? Who'd be your favorite Twitch streamer to turn on? Whether it's to just watch for gameplay, for entertainment, if you want to put something on in the background, like who's your go to?
Yeah, so obviously I'm a mod in your chat, so that's the only reason I'm ever there to be.
That's fair, yeah, and that
But
goes for
yeah,
Yyys as well.
yeah. I mean, obviously, if you guys are streaming, I'll just put it on in the background, or I'll talk. You know, I do talk like most of the time, but there'll be moments that I'm like, yeah, I'll just put it on in the background.
Mhm.
As for YouTube, I really enjoy watching is learner drivers doing their tests
Oh my
or like
god, is
mock
that like
tests.
your woman doing the emergency stops and stuff? I don't know who she is. It's some woman in England, and she's like, "And stop the
Yeah,
car right now," and she's like quite posh sounding. I'd see so
yeah.
many
I
clips of her.
I love those kind of videos where you can just watch like obviously because I just passed my tests like last year,
Mhm.
and it's quite fun to like see people like messing up and stuff.
Yeah.
maybe I'm just say this. I'm like, I just want to watch people fail.
Oh, so
But
good.
another one
Yeah.
I quite like. I don't know if you've heard of Elvis the Alien.
No, I haven't actually.
basically his kind of shtick is that he goes over mostly horror movies.
Uh-huh.
But he'll like watch these like bad horror movies and he'll like commentate over them, which
Oh,
is really
class.
fun. So yeah, but he also covers a lot of like interesting movies as well.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like Harry Potter, he did one as well, and he'll do like these like shitty Netflix movies as well. I think he
Oh,
did
cool.
cover your favorite Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh god, I'll have to watch that at some stage.
Yeah, but it's just a really fun kind of person to put on in the background as well. Because that's
Mm,
mostly why I don't really sit there and watch. I'll mostly like go on while I'm doing something else.
fair. Yeah, I find like what I watch the most of. For some reason, Hens. Every time he posts, I watch the entire video. He's just
Oh,
such a good
even
creator.
even I do as well. Yeah,
Yeah, I just love watching his stuff. And then, have you ever heard of Dead Meat?
yeah, the kill count.
Oh, they're so good. The kill counts are amazing. Like I'll go back and watch old kill counts from time to time. And then I think the third one would just be everyone knows the Sidemen, but they actually play a game that died quite a while ago called Among Us, and their Among Us videos are hilarious
Yeah,
because
I don't know if I've
they're
seen those,
just
but
like idiots. I don't know what better way to put it. Like I love watching them and all,
I
but
have
they're
seen one
idiots.
clip from that that's like, oh, I'm black, he's black, everyone's
Yeah.
black.
Oh, there's so many clips come out of it that are just absolutely brilliant. So there is.
Yeah.
But yeah. So then, if you were to pick one streamer to put as our streamer spotlight that everybody should check out, that you think they'd have a good time in their chat, in watching them, you think they'd get interested or they'd enjoy themselves, who would it be and why?
Well, I think for me, I don't really watch too many streamers, so I'll have to shout out our lovely friend YYYS2EE3, who's obviously doing his sway no streak at the moment.
Yeah.
But if you catch him like playing normally, I think he doesn't read his chat too much on the streak, but there's still a lot of fun to watch, and he gets a lot of salt in his stream as well, which I love to see.
Yeah. Sometimes that's the best times when people are coming in to be salty.
Yeah, that's a lot of like because he's obviously playing nurse and trying really hard. It's quite funny to see like the salty survivors coming.
Yeah. Oh, there's no shortage of salty survivors in the game, to be fair.
Yeah, definitely not. You never see salty killers though, just survivors.
I mean, you say that, Jesus, I had a match the other day. I was fucking ripping. I was playing Trickster, and just games had been going really crap. And it was one of them games that when you finished it, you're like, all right, it's time to get off this game for tonight. But it was
Yeah.
like Garden of Joy, that stupid back window in Garden of Joy. There was one guy that just kept abusing the shit out of it and running to it as an infinite, and then running to this sort of side window as an infinite, and then the back window would have unblocked at that stage, and I was getting tilted. I was, and like I try not to get too tilted at this game. It is I do play it for fun and stuff, but I was so tilted at that stage, and I managed to catch him out where he wasn't near that stupid infinite, and I fucking demolished him. I was like, right, fuck you, I'm taking you down, I'm gonna camp you, I'm gonna slug you, I'm gonna fucking wreck you.
Did you WS and hit him on hook?
I don't think I went that far. I did do that to ones on the Unreal streak though. I got I think it was the Perkle streak. I got VPNers on it, and
I hate that so much. Like,
yeah,
I don't like have anything against like people who live across the world, but I don't want to play DBD with you if you're like that far away.
yeah. When they come in with their 170 ping and a lot of stuff is happening that shouldn't be happening, and like you're not getting hits
Yeah.
that you should, things like that. But it was more they kept pre-throwing the pallets and then teabagging like fuck, and I couldn't really do much because I was like their ping was mental. And then I eventually got one down, WS tacked the shit out of him, and then Condemn killed him. And it was just like, it's one of those moments where you're like, it's not even like rageful, it's not even salty or toxic. It's like, yeah, fuck you. You fucking, both sides have been at it, it's not something to take personally for either of us. But just it felt good, seeing those fucking bags and the flashlight clicks. I was like, right, I'm gonna fucking get you, you be shit. You know,
There
it
is
was
some games that you throw everything away just to go for one person who's
yeah.
particularly pissing you off.
Yeah, it's like a real fucking I don't care if the rest of you get out, he's dying. You know?
Yeah.
Oh no, it
God.
was a great game. 'Cause I think I could have got the 40k condemn that game, but I gave away the hatch. Like I let them go out the hatch, and I
Yeah.
remember
You're
just
like
looking at
now
him
that
like, yeah,
he's dead. Now that he's
yeah.
dead, I don't care anymore.
Or maybe I hooked the last person. I can't remember, but it was like 3 of them were VPNing, and I was looking at it going, for fuck's sake, like my internet
Yeah.
wouldn't be the best at the best of times, but to get that, then you're going my terrible ping against other people's terrible ping, and it just looks an absolute mess in game. It was one of my
And it's like
fucking favorite moments to hit them.
the times where you're playing against a team and then they're all like toxic at the start, and then you have this last survivor say they've been being toxic all game, and then they like drop their med kit or something. You're like, fuck no, just fucking kill them.
I know it sounds really bad, but I love that moment where it's like if they've been toxic and they're like, "Oh, here's my med kit." You whack them in the face, and then just well, now it's mori them. Instead, you don't even have to bring them to a hook. It's just whack them in the face and just mori them on the spot, and then you'll get the "Why didn't you let me go?" or "Because you were fucking toxic."
Yeah, I had a hilarious moment against a skull merchant. She was bleeding me out like completely, and then at some point she picked me up to let me like go to the gate, and she's like, she let me open it and then downed me again to be like, oh yeah, fuck you. And then she picked me up again, and what happened was I started wiggling. She realized there was no hooks nearby, and then she like dropped me by the exit gate to be like, "Oh yeah, you can go." Even though the only reason she dropped me is because there was no hooks, so she just
Fuck's sake.
embarrassed herself. I was like, "Yeah,
I will say I'm really enjoying this finisher Mori coming in for stuff like that, where it's like if there's no hooks around and the last guy has like crawled to the corner so that you can't get the hooks, then you could just Mori them. It's really fun. And at least then it
yeah."
means you get this, if you're playing well, you get to see a Mori a game, which is nice.
It doesn't really happen. Doesn't really happen as much anymore that you don't have hooks because they come back now, don't they? But
Yeah, that was a
still,
really
it
great
can
change, I
happen.
think. So that was definitely one of their better changes, bringing it back
Yeah.
after a minute. So it is.
Some of the perk reworks that they've done as well are quite fun. I think DMS is pretty good now, unfortunately. Because it blocks like instead of blocking every gen that gets let go of, it just blocks the first one, but it blocks for like 45 seconds, which is crazy long.
Yeah, it can be really good. I think they're doing a good job, like in their balancing and stuff lately. I don't think there's anything too much to complain about. Though members of the community will always try and find something, but I think they're fairly on top of things at the minute.
Yeah, a lot of the perks actually seem pretty fair now. Obviously, we had other people buckle up for like a few months.
Yeah,
It's just ridiculous.
I think the biggest one people are complaining about at the minute would be Predator on Nurse. And it's
Yeah,
kind of like, aside from Nurse, who is it really that bad on? You know?
yeah, that's the thing. I don't know what they can even do about that. Could they like remove aura? Like Nurse can't see auras anymore. New
Mm-hmm.
update. Or maybe they could make it so like Nurse gets like killer instinct instead of auras. Just because
Possibly.
she ruins aura perks for every other killer.
Yeah, a little bit. I think it's a case of like survivors are sort of saying, "Oh, well, you've not been overly great, to earn that perk. Like you've lost somebody in chase, and you're getting rewarded for that by getting told
Yeah.
exactly where they are." It's kind of like how people don't like no ed because it's like, oh, well, you could have been shit all game, and then no ed gets you 3 kills, you know.
Mhm.
And like from the killer side of you, you're going right. Well, I didn't see you all game. The one time I did see you, I injured you, and then bang, you got adrenaline. It's kind of like
I
everybody
don't
sort
know. I
of
feel
doesn't
like
like those kinds of perks.
people just target whatever perk pisses them off in the moment. Like I've seen people complain about some crazy perks.
Yeah, perks
Like
that
I
aren't
think
even that good.
like Iron Grasp was a big one. This guy just kept complaining about. Like, oh yeah, of course he's running Iron Grasp. Of course he is.
Yeah. Well, I know like
Like
if you're to count it as like, oh, Predator on Nurse is too strong. All you have to do is look at like the likes of Friends Till the End on Unreal. It is so strong on her, but it's not overly strong on other people who don't have the map traversal she has.
Guess it's pretty good on Dredge. Wraith, maybe, but not too much.
Yeah. But it's
like whoever can get straight to that position is just good.
Big time. Like even the likes of the Unknown, it can be really good on if they've placed their remnants in good places.
But that was one like big thing that I didn't realize that me and Heavy went against yesterday. The killer, it was Pinhead, and he had the add-on that it gives you deep wound when you break the chain.
Yeah.
So 3 times to me, he just hooked me. Well, I guess twice. So after the first hook, he just stood kind of nearby. He would just wait for the unhook. He would chain me off the hook. Then I would get into deep wound, right? And then he could just down me because endurance doesn't work when you're in deep wound.
Yeah.
Which I was like, okay, that's just not really. And the guy was a P100 as well.
That's probably how he knew to do it.
Yeah. And I'm like, wow, I'm not good at this killer if that's what you do every game.
Oh, there's a lot of people. There's like, or something I've noticed lately. It's like if you have a bad game on a killer, you will get ripped out for it. Like, oh, you're shit on this killer and stuff. If you camped or slugged or tunneled or whatever. But then also what I've noticed is if you play a completely fair game and you hook them before killing and you don't camp or tunnel or whatever, you just beat them by being good, you'll get, oh, boring killer. You're like, well, what the fuck do you want me to do? Like,
just like play well, but not well enough that you win.
Yeah, just play well and then quit whenever you've got 8 hooks. Like, I don't know. It's kind of like everybody will always expect you to fucking, I don't know. They always expect something else of you. It's like even as Survivor, if a killer is like, oh, I can't believe you did this. Like me on that fucking window, me going, you fucking abused that back window. Like, yeah, it's part of the game. Skill issues, get better, Stumpy. It is like, it shows that you can complain about anything in this game, but realistically, a lot of the time it is just get better.
Like, there's a lot of times where it's like people will complain, like the killer's like, oh, I didn't have fun that game. But like every other game that they've played, you can tell that they just don't care about the other players' fun.
Yeah. I think that is like it's a big balancing point for a game like this where it's like one side could play particularly nasty and ruin the other side's time, and it's sort of a vicious circle then if they just keep doing that. But it's part of
like, oh, you know what? I'm bringing them offering next game.
I'm
gonna do this and this.
So
I take out on the people who didn't do anything wrong.
I had a lovely game of Blight the other day on RPD. They brought me to RPD. It went really bad. I think I had like 4 hooks, came into end game. And I ended up killing 3 of them in end game. Just
I saw that
pure pressure. Yeah, they hated me in end game chat. They were like, "Oh, you're nothing but a camper," and I'm going, "It was end game." I had one person on hook when they refused to leave, and then I ended up snowballing getting 3. And it's like, you can't really complain whenever we've went through the whole game. You have the chance to leave with 3 man out. You didn't, and you paid for it. Like, because I had a good end game is not a reason to just start giving me abuse. Like,
like what do they want you to do? Like, hook the person, and then just go to the exit gate and hit someone who's healthy, and then they leave.
Yeah, I couldn't understand it, but.
And the guy was like, personally, I would not have camped there.
Yeah.
Like, didn't ask me.
That's nice for you and all, but I fucking. To be honest, I've taken a stance of if you bring me to a map, I don't care. I'm not going to play nice. I'll play I'll try not to be as nasty in most games, but if you bring me to a map, I have no sympathy for you. I will take you down instantly. I will tunnel someone out. I'll camp people out. I don't care. That's like if you've given yourself that little boost, that advantage, I'm gonna take that advantage from you by killing somebody early. So yeah, that's kind of the attitude I've took towards it, and it's kind of instead of complaining about map offerings, I'm just thinking, right, play like a bastard and get good, as people say, and then it could be a 3v1 with 4 gens left. Bang. What are you gonna do?
I don't even know. I think I saw someone streaming one time. They were playing like as queuing as 3 people. Then their teammate bought a map offering. They went down within like 10 seconds and then disconnected.
Actually, I thought the other day somebody brought me to Erie. No. Oh, where was it? Somebody had brought me to the game, and I was playing Huntress. And no, sorry, I tell a lie. It was Ormond. This Sable had brought me to Ormond. I was playing Huntress. She slow vaulted a window by accident. I hit her with my weapon, like my main M1. Then I threw a hatchet that downed her before she got to the pallet, and she immediately quit. I 2-tapped her within like 7 or 8 seconds, and she just bang gone.
It's such a big problem in this game now that people just get. There's not really a consequence if you just leave. Especially there's not a consequence if you just kill yourself on the hook, because then you can just queue into your next game.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know
that.
what they should do about it, because if you're gonna like ruin the game, at least like DC, so there's a bot.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but even then, it's like the bots are pretty useless.
I'd say it's.
The killer's just gonna win if someone gives up.
Yeah.
90% of the time.
I would say like a good 90% of the time that people are giving up on hook is because they have such a big DC penalty that they don't want to eat that DC penalty. Yeah, but I think there should be some mechanic in place that, like, if they're giving up that early, that they should be punished for it.
Maybe they could just remove self-unhooking. I don't know.
Possibly.
Because people just use it to die, essentially.
Yeah. Or maybe even put it up to like 10%, but give you one opportunity. You get one go at it. It'll take away half of your first hook state.
Yeah,
and that's it.
You just have to wait.
Yeah, I think that could be a really, really solid idea, because it means like 1 in 10 times you're getting out, which is kind of, I don't know, it's kind of the same, because you have what? You have 3-4% chances, so in around 12.
And then a second hook, maybe missing 2 skill checks only kills you if there's only one other person alive, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's no other reason why it should instantly kill you if you miss it twice.
Yeah. No, maybe just have it that it speeds it up, but it does not instantly kill you, because it's too good a tactic for people to just leave the game early.
Yeah.
Like, so it is kind of screws over their team completely.
Like, there's a lot of games that you could win, but then your teammates are just like, yeah, you know what? Like, say you're down to, like, someone gives up and then you get down to 1 gen anyway. You're saying there like, oh, well, we could have won this if our teammate didn't die on purpose.
Mm-hmm. The thing I will say, right, and if you're a survivor that does this, please stick a comment in and tell me why. But the thing that I just find so idiotically stupid, and I am fully calling you out on it if you do it, if you are dying anyway, whether it be on hook or mid-Mori, why the fuck do you DC? You're losing blood points for yourself. You're dying anyway. You're not making some big statement. The killer's just going, idiot. That's all we're doing, you know? It's like, you've just cost yourself blood points. That's hilarious. What is the logic? Yeah.
Like,
cost yourself blood points and the DC penalty. Like,
you can just leave if you just wait 10 seconds.
Literally, you're kind of, as the killer, you're looking at them going, you dose of shite. What are you doing? Like,
maybe it's just an in the moment kind of rage.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, you don't get to Mori me. I'm gonna leave.
So. And you're going, no, I still got to Mori you. Don't worry. The bot stays. The bot gets Mori. That's fine.
Yeah, the ball looks like you, so I'm basically Moriing you.
Yeah, if anything, it's more satisfying knowing that they quit and cost themselves all chances of blood points because they were that like rageful about how you beat them. It's beat a lot of people's egos, that, but yeah, no, I just find that so like idiotic. It's like, just wait the extra 5 seconds. Like, how much time are you really saving? In fact, you're not saving any time because you're going out to a DC penalty. You're completely fucking yourself over. That's mental. How the hell did we end up talking about this, by the way?
I don't know.
We've gone off in such a
Like,
tangent here.
normally the shower was meant to be the end of the episode.
Yeah, we just went wild with it, so we have.
Yeah.
Talking about idiots. It's, I don't know.
A lot of idiots around.
Oh, 100%. But, yeah. So then we'll leave it as, make sure you check out YYYS2EE3, even though he's a little bitch that doesn't show up for the podcast.
Exactly.
Next week, I will be doing a Halloween special, and that will be with multiple people. I'll have maybe a big group. I'm not entirely sure who's available and stuff, but I'll sort that out for the time. Yyys will still be missing them and is missing in action big time, but he should be back the week after that.
Maybe he's died and someone's taken his place, and they
Possibly.
can't do voice calls because obviously that would break the illusion that he's dead.
Maybe he's in hiding, with his witness protection or something, and he's just off on his own, but
maybe he works for the government and he's like not allowed to disclose anything right now.
Possibly, But yeah, so we'll have that bit of a Halloween special next week. We'll be talking about like ghost stories, getting to know everybody's spookiest thing that's going on. We'll talk about the actual Halloween original movie. But yeah, hopefully you guys look forward to that. Hopefully this one was a good, fun one. I think it's one we keep outdoing ourselves. This is our longest podcast again, I think. So I think it is, yeah. But we knew this was gonna happen. Yeah. Like we put very minimal topics, and then we just knew we were
making fun of it. We were making fun of it beforehand, like how the podcasts are getting longer and longer.
Yeah, we were literally looking at it, and now this one's probably going to be the longest. But hopefully you guys are enjoying them. If you've made it this far, slap a like on it. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And until next time, good luck, lads.